I'd like to show you some other things that you can do, another way of doing hand castings. If you look at this, this is just an extension of what we were just doing. This was a whole bunch of people putting their hands into alginate and making a real pile of hands. So you see you can do as many of the people as you have a container large enough to do. However, this sort of casting is also something that's quite popular. And what we're going to show you now is how to do this. And in order to do this, all you're going to need is some alginate. And alginate and water. What I've measured out here is about 3 pounds of water and slightly more alginate than usual. The normal amount of alginate, remember, is 5 ounces per pound of water. I'm doing 5.5 ounces because I want this to be so thick that it'll stay in position, and you'll see why in just a moment. The only other thing that I really need is a little bit of cotton and then some plaster bandages, which will dip into water and will act as an outer mold for this. Now, if you purchase an Art Molds face kit, it will have enough alginate to do this, and the plaster bandages, and the cotton. So you'll have everything you need to do this type of casting. So here we go. First thing was to mix the alginate. Our subjects here, whom we have recruited from the local area. Yep. We have Elliot and Lauren, and then 2 ladies that had things outside that said, we'll do art for food. Remember I said I had mixed the alginate somewhat thicker so it would stay in place, and you see it staying in place beautifully. And I'm just covering up all the fingers and hands. I want the plaster bandages to stick to the alginate. So I'm going to take some sheet cotton and just dab it in. The cotton will set up into the alginate, and then the plaster bandages will stick to the cotton. Okay, there we go. Now, plaster bandages are put into water. And will act as an outer mold so that this mold, when we remove the hands, will hold its shape. This has been about 8.5 minutes since I started mixing. Now, Beth, why don't you go ahead and release your hand very gently. Yeah. Just yank it out. There we go. Okay.
On my fingernails.
Okay. We don't want to show that. Now imagine when we turn this over and try to fill it with plaster, the plaster is going to want to run out the armholes. So what I'm doing now is going around it with some more plaster bandages and covering up the ends of the armholes. It will strengthen the mold, but it'll also cover up the ends of the armhole so that this mold will hold the plaster. Now I've turned this over, and this is only about 22 minutes after we started this, and I've cut open the bottoms of the arms so I can get the plaster to flow in the way I want to. I don't want the plaster that I put in here to stick to the plaster at the ends of the arms here. So I'm rubbing Vaseline over those ends of the arms. Juve Domine benedicere. Now I'm filling this with plaster. since I can reach in here, I can feel around a little bit and make sure it's getting to every little corner of every finger. And of course, I thought that I had mixed way too much, but as it turns out, I hardly mixed any extra at all. So I thought I had made a mistake, but I was wrong. Okay, now we'll just let it sit for a few minutes and demold it. Now, except for a little bit of alginate still left in there. Look, if anybody wonders about the kind of detail that you can get, this ring is just about perfect, and so is this one over here.